The Gambia, allegedly among the 5 largest global exporters of rosewood, illegally, despite the country having declared its own stock almost extinct 10 years ago. This according to a damning report by the highly respected environmental investigation agency EIA. A stakeholders consultation organized by the Gambia Participates was held today to brainstorm on ways to stop the illegal trade in the Gambia. Jennifer Sonko reports.
Rosewood is a family of tropical tree species commonly used for furniture in Asia, particularly China. After a strong demand for rosewood furniture in China, which led to conservation worries and violence in areas that produce the wood, restrictions were imposed. Restrictions under the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora came into effect in 2017. Despite this, the trade has continued and has pushed the species close to extinction.
The impact is already highly visible and widespread, especially considering the fact that these are considered endangered species of woods. So if they are coming from Senegal, I wouldn't agree that 100% of all the rosewoods that have been exported from the Gambia or on transit to the Gambia all come from Senegal. I will also say that some of them comes from the Gambia because of lax maritime and environmental laws that we have in this country.
The Environmental Investigation Agency conducted a 3-year investigation into the Senegal-Gambia-China rosewood traffic and came up with findings that made uncomfortable reading for Gambians. EIA's findings indicate that an estimated 1.6 million trees have been illegally harvested in Senegal and smuggled into the Gambia between June 2012 and April 2020. The rosewood traffic between Senegal and the Gambia has been likely controlled by the armed rebel group Movement of Democratic Forces of Casamas and is the principal source of income for the rebels. The EIA's investigative report, cashing in on chaos, among other serious claims, alleged that a Gambian government minister as well as senior Gambian government officials had undermined their own government's export ban. When the report was published, the Gambian government refuted the allegations and were quoted in the local media, describing them as false, unfounded and nonsensical.
Talking about our national budget, if you look at the approved budget of 2021, you will see the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Wildlife, the revenue that has been estimated for 2019, zero, 2020, zero. So once one wonders all these millions of dollars that have been generated, while we still cry about insufficient funds to support our government activities, where are this money going to?
Sambo Kinte from the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Water Resources blames the public for the ongoing environmental issues, saying the Ministry of Environment is just a policy-making body and when things are banned, the public should adhere to the bans.
You have to understand the role of the Ministry of Environment as far as environmental management is concerned. The ministry deals with policies. What we do is, if we have environmental related concerns, when people are confronted with challenges regarding environmental issues, we come together, invite all the relevant stakeholders, and then draft documents that will actually capture all the concerns.
EIA's report also indicates that there's an enormous gap, with the Gambia reporting $471 million less in timber exports than their trading partners, principally China and Vietnam, declared as imports over these years, or approximately $50 million yearly unaccounted for on average. EIA has come up with few recommendations to change the narrative.
Part of the recommendations were key. Among them was a recommendation by the EIA to close down the Jainar company, because Jainar company is a company that's responders mediating between the traffickers and then the government and then the Chinese people to ensure that they've closed them down, and of course also to put up an investigation in all these timber dealings, from the port of entry from Senegal and all those things, to ensure that they investigate, and then the investigation reports should be published, and then if there are actions that need to be taken, for it to be taken.
Despite the wide publicity given to the report, including a BBC special investigation based on it and the government's on-record refutation of the report's findings, at least one member of the National Assembly Select Committee on Environment claim he and his colleagues were not aware of the Environmental Investigation Agency's report. Gambia Participates is a youth-led civil society organization that focuses on strengthening transparency and accountability in public institutions. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jennifer Sonko.